Greetings. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Today is a talk I want to do called Tesla versus Bolt 2.0. Bonjour, guten Tag. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. And there are three things I'd like to cover in the Bolt versus Tesla competition in my 2.0. After my first posting in this area, a lot of folks had things to say, etc. And there are 4 points I wanted to cover. The first is what's called the 7X rule. The second point I wanted to make is GM's response to slow sales with the Bolt. And the third thing is sort of a wrap-up of those first two. So my first item today is the fact that I was shocked at the volume of hatred that was devoted at GM and company based on the Bolt. In particular, it seemed that there's a lot of the folks that are on my page and that are buying Teslas right now are old enough to remember them deciding to destroy the first electric vehicle they had and threatening people if they tried to keep them. I was really surprised to learn that, folks are still angry about that, and it's reflecting in their sales. I believe you have a right to your anger, but I also wanted to note for those in the United States, you should be aware that every vehicle you purchase directly impacts one job at a manufacturing plant in the US, but it also influences 7 more. So, hey, I agree with your anger about this car. I think the design is lacking. I think that they should have had a supercharger capability by now. They should have had a charging network plan other than the public ones that are open. So there's no argument with any of that. I just think that you may want to be gentle. Another subtext of this is the magnitude of this disaster in my mind is quite amazing, because I just did some research and found that with incentives, the price on a Bolt is all the way down to $22,000. So, my understanding from GM is that the cost of the battery pack alone is $15K. So if the car is actually selling out there after rebates at $22,000, the vehicle is almost being given away, and discriminating buyers would rather pay $1,000 and stand in line for a Tesla than pick up a kind of an ugly Bolt for $22,000. And frankly, that's amazing. The response, item number 2 is, as a heading, is GM's general response to those slow sales. So the first item there is, we talked about the fact that they were suspending production at the plant that produces both the Sonic and the Tesla. According to the GM spokespeople, they had decided to shut down the plant for an extra week because instead of doing 2 Sonics per Bolt, they would now be doing 50-50. The other thing they noted is that they would be expanding to a nationwide sales footprint early as a way to try to clear out the 111 days of supply they currently have, when 70 days of supply is ideal. I'm fascinated by this move also because another data point they threw out is that the annualized production clip that they had planned for, which they'll be getting to after this plant turnover, is a 30,000 unit per year production run for the Bolt. And this is kind of interesting because by the end of the year, the folks at Tesla are planning about 30,000 a month in production from their facilities. And so it's interesting that kind of what they sell, what Tesla's selling and planning to sell in a month, is what GM is hoping to sell in a year. And I think that's a powerful statement about sort of brand awareness, reputation, and whether or not customers think the solution you're offering is what they need. So I feel sorry for GM because they definitely need to retool what they're offering in this space in some way. And retooling, I think, needs to exceed simply leveraging dealer power to drop prices. I have to admit, I also was disappointed by GM with a move made by the CEO recently where she pointed out that why should you go for a vehicle that doesn't have a dealer network to support it, like Tesla? You could instead select the Bolt. And she kind of references this with, I think, the situation in Michigan in mind. Two things on that I thought it was a slimy move for her to say that because GM is one of the folks that's keeping Tesla out of Michigan from selling without a dealer. The second thing about this is that now with Tesla's mobile service abilities, I think those who haven't been able to buy and service within Michigan will now have a first line of service that's not that far away that can take care of places where the dealer networks are too strong to allow Tesla to move in and operate as they'd like. I'm fascinated by this because in the case of GM, could the disaster of Bolt be any worse? And the reason I say that is that not only are they losing money, and we don't know how much, but let's say they're losing $2 or $3 grand per car, but in order to move those vehicles, dealer and company are now having to increase the amount they're losing in order to get a footprint. Is it a good idea? Who knows? It'll be interesting to note also the fact that one of the things that Tesla has as an advantage that you don't have with the Bolt is by having a user footprint, those users, good or bad experiences, are filtering into their local communities and will result in more or less sales based on what the customer impression is of that solution. I'd have to say that the way everyone has been talking, the Bolt and its good price and its arriving early should have been a signal to all those potential buyers that they should jump on a Bolt. But the fact of the matter is that, the brand awareness that GM has among that population is so bad that they're having no success. I want to thank you for taking time out. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Tschüss, mach's gut. Au revoir, tout à l'heure. Look forward to your comments. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.